Welcome to another installment of Turn Up the AC Hot Takes with Reason on a solo edition. All social media information will be posted in the description below. We ask that you please go ahead and hit the like and subscribe while you're at it so you can be notified when the latest content is available. Now, there's been a lot of back and forth going on in the welterweight division. Terence Crawford and his camp in Bomac are out here talking about they're only looking to fight champions. Okay? There's only 3 current champions in the welterweight division. Terence Crawford, Manny Pacquiao, and Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. is already slated to fight Danny Garcia in November. Manny Pacquiao has been linked to a potential Conor McGregor fight and even Mikey Garcia. So, my question is, if the only other 2 champions are already having fights, what is out there for Terence Crawford? For a while, people were trying to act like Terence Crawford was the most ducked at the welterweight division. You had Tim Bradley calling out all the PBC guys saying they're all ducking Terence Crawford. But in reality, all I've seen is Terence Crawford turn down fights. Talking about Keith Thurman isn't worth it. Mikey Garcia is asking too much. Ugas isn't worth it. Because they don't have belts. That doesn't make any sense. When the only fighter Terence Crawford has fought at the welterweight division is Jeff Horn. And let's be honest, Jeff Horn was not a champion. He was gifted that belt from Manny Pacquiao. Don't even let me get started on that one, because that's a whole other conversation for a different day. Some would say Bob Arum took that belt from Pacquiao, so Terence Crawford didn't have to fight Pacquiao. Call me crazy, call me a hater, call me imaginary, whatever you want to say. There is interviews where Bob Arum specifically says he killed the Pacquiao-Crawford fight. He did it. Not Pacquiao, not Terence Crawford, Bob Arum. But yet, Terence Crawford had a chance to leave Top Rank and go to PBC or stay a free agent where he could fight all the big names. And he chose to stay with Top Rank. $10 million for Keith Thurman is too much, apparently. But $6-7 million for Amir Khan isn't? Come on now. Keith Thurman is better than anybody that Terence Crawford has beat. Period. Danny Garcia, better than anybody Terence Crawford has beat. Period. Errol Spence, Mikey Garcia is a bigger name and better than anybody Terence Crawford has beat. Period. But yet these guys are asking too much. They're too expensive to make this fight happen. Come on, man. Let's be serious here. Terence Crawford, if you don't fight Spence or Pacquiao, who you gonna fight? You gonna fight Kell Brook? Someone that Errol Spence beat, 3 years ago? You gonna fight Gary Russell Jr.? Someone who is, 2 weight classes smaller? Come on, man. I'm not saying you're ducking, but it's not looking too good for you when you're saying all these fights are nothing, but Keith Thurman just lost his belt to Manny Pacquiao. His first loss ever in his career. He didn't get washed. Do I think he lost clearly? Absolutely. But he was coming on strong in the end. And if Pacquiao doesn't hurt him in the body, I think in the 9th or 10th round, that fight might go a different way. Keith Thurman versus Terence Crawford is a pay-per-view fight. Say $10 million is too much. Say Thurman's out of his mind. That sounds to me like a starting point for negotiations. I'm sure Thurman would take the fight if he got a little less than the $10 million he's asking for. I'm sure they can make this fight happen if you give Keith Thurman $7 million, $8 million. Guarantee you the fight happens. Guarantee you he accepts. Now, with all this being said, I would absolutely favor Terence Crawford to win this fight. But the way he has been carrying himself, acting like all these guys that want to fight him are nobodies and not worth the time, That's making him look really bad. Because who you going to fight? At welterweight, you fought Jose Benavidez, man who was shot, fighting with one leg. Jeff Horn, not a real champion. Who else did you fight? Amir Khan. Everybody knows Amir Khan got a glass jaw. And he quit. And then you fought Mean Machine. That was a decent fight, but let's be honest. The top 7, 8 guys in the welterweight division all beat Mean Machine as well. I know a lot of people have Terence Crawford very high on the pound-for-pound list. I do as well. You can't have him anywhere other than 1 or 2. But his resume at 147 does not stack up to the resume of any of the top guys at 147. He can't come close to Pacquiao's resume, obviously. Pacquiao's a living legend. Errol Spence has done way more at welterweight. Sean Porter's done, his resume is head and shoulders. Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, and Danny Garcia, all of their resumes are head and shoulders above what Terence Crawford has done at the welterweight division. All you got to do is just look at the resume, and they all speak for themselves. Terence Crawford's resume is, what, 7th, 8th best at welterweight for what he's done in the welterweight division? So come on, man. We got to hold everybody accountable. Everybody. Every fighter. We can't let people just pick and choose their fights, because that's what's going on with Canelo, and everybody's letting that slide. So we got to figure this out, man. Keith was asked who he wants to fight more, Errol Spence Jr. or Bud Crawford. And Thurman responds with, I quote, "Right now I want Crawford more, man. He's gotten under my skin. Errol, that's a timeline issue. This Crawford dude, send me a contract, bro. Don't act like I'm going to run from you. You never weighed 147. You never got respect in the game anyway at 147. End quote. Keith Thurman said stuff like this about Terence Crawford for a while now. He said, no one's checking for you at 147. You haven't done anything at 147. And I agree. Yeah, he has a belt. And yeah, he's dominated all the fights he's had at 147. But who was the best person he fought? The top 7, 8 guys ranked in the welterweight division all beat every single person that Terence Crawford has on his resume at 147. So the walls are closing in on a lot right now. And I really want to see this fight, man. Like, I'd rather see Keith Thurman fight Terence Crawford over Gary Russell, over Kell Brook. You know what I mean? Because Keith Thurman's only loss is to a Hall of Famer, arguably the GOAT in terms of pound-for-pound fighter of all time, in Manny Pacquiao. And that was a split decision. So I think we really need to see this fight, man. This is a really, really big fight. This would be the biggest fight of Terence Crawford's career, hands down. So let's not act like this is a nothing fight, like this is a nobody fight. We got to push for these, man, because this would be a great fight to watch. And I think it would be a very entertaining, definitely pay-per-view worthy. And definitely I would be purchasing this fight. I just wanted to drop my thoughts on the Keith Thurman, Terence Crawford situation. This has been Reason. Turn up the AC Hot Takes. Go ahead and comment, hate, debate, whatever you want to do. We appreciate it all. Let me know who you would rather see Terence Crawford face. And is Terence Crawford versus Keith Thurman a worthy fight? And if it's not, then who's out there for Terence Crawford? Go ahead and let me know in the comments. Go ahead and like, subscribe, so you can, be ready for all future content. This has been Reason. Turn up the AC Hot Takes, and we're out.